Okay, I'd like to walk you through integrating a brand new file with GoZync. So here's the GoZync folder, and you can see we've got the stuff that goes on your host or server, and then the stuff that's going to go on the local device, be that an iPad, an iPhone, or a laptop. And this file, quick contact here, this is a little FileMaker file. You've probably seen the iPhone version of it, data entry iPhone. This little iPhone file that works great. It's kind of our little sync example file that ships with GoZync. And this is a cool thing to have open because you're going to borrow a few things from this. But what we want to do is pick the file we want to integrate with. And I'm going to use one of the sample solutions. So from Starter Solutions, I'm going to pick Product Catalogs. It's pretty simple. And we're going to put, let's say this is the local one. I'm going to put this in the local here. And there it is, which is great. But I do want to close it. And I didn't need to make a folder. Move trash. And then I'm just going to duplicate it and move it up into host, because I need a hosted version of the file, right? You may have this similar file like this is on host and local, but many of you will have built your own kind of specific local files that are just for the iPhone or iPad, right? Like this one. So because I won't be able to visually distinguish these very much, I'm just going to call this one hosted. And now I can open the two of those up. So that's product catalog hosted. I'm going to keep that on the left, and I'm going to put product catalog mobile on the right. That's kind of how we organize a lot of the stuff in the GoZync interface. This kind of helps keep the hosted stuff on the left. And then let's open up what we need. We need GoZync hosted open, so I'm going to open that on the left here. And then GoZync mobile, which is the mobile controller file on the right. And so you can see we've already integrated this one file, quick contact. That was the example file I showed you. Well, now we're going to do another. And to get started, I'm just going to click on the documentation index, and that brings up our instructions. And here's the note about how to do the integration. So I've read this a few times, so I'm not going to go through this line by line. I'm just going to kind of do the integration and then let the integration wizard in GoZync check my work. So I'm just going to move this off screen in case I need to refer to it, and let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out what layout I want to sync. And this is a pretty simple file. There's only this one table here, so I'm going to use this. The only thing I have to check is, are there any script triggers on this layout? And I can see down here in the corner that there are. So I've taken a look at this earlier, layout setup. All this script trigger does is show the status area, which is kind of a lame use for script trigger. So I'm going to turn that off. And now this layout is completely good to sync. I want to do the same thing in the hosted version though also. Excuse me, in the mobile version. So let's just do that. Let's go into layout mode and turn off that script trigger. Layout setup, script triggers. So if you don't have any really simple layouts, if all your layouts are complicated and have triggers and all sorts of stuff on them, we have some great notes about how to make a simple layout that just has the fields on it that you want to sync. But in this example, I can just sync this layout. So the next thing I need to know is find out what table occurrence it's based on. And it's based on the occurrence called products. So the work to do is really just to add products to GoZync hosted and GoZync mobile. So let's do that. So let's go over to GoZync hosted first, which is on the left here. And I want to put it right here. So you can see that our example is already wired up. I just need to create a table occurrence for this new file. And I need to make a FileMaker data source for it. And we're in the hosted side. So that's my product catalog hosted. And I want the products table. And this is great. So the TO has got the same name. The default TO is the same name as the TO on the layout I'm syncing. So that's great. I don't have to change it. And I need to make a blank layout based on that TO. So I'll just go into layout mode, say layout, new layout. And this is in GoZync hosted, and it's from products, which I just created. And you wanted to give it the same name as the TO. So products, blank layout. And then I can just come back to my dashboard. And let's do the same thing in GoZync mobile, which is hiding back here. To find database, again, we're going to put it right here. I don't have a file reference for it yet. Oh, I do, because I practiced this demo a little earlier. So there's product catalog, products, and again, it has the right name, which is great. Now I just need to make a layout based on it. Go into layout mode, say layout new, and pick products. And there it is, products. Again, make sure it has the same name, blank layout. And then we can return to our dashboard, which in this case is mobile apps. Great. So now that I've done that work, the next thing my integration instructions are going to tell me is to check my work. That's right over here, right? Getting to work. Here's step 1 of 4. And way down here, after you do all that stuff, it says check your work. So let's do that. Let's check our work. So the way we do that is we say that we have a new layout to sync from the dashboard. I'm going to click add. And by the way, I don't expect you to literally follow along with this. I'm going kind of fast, but once you've watched this, when you get into the instructions, you'll know how to do it. So I'm going to click add new layout. And right now everything's unknown. but I'm ready to proceed to the integration of this new file. So it's just going to ask us a few questions. So first of all, let's pick a layout that we want to work with. And on the hosted side, or a file, excuse me, on the hosted side, it's called product catalog hosted, and the layout was called product details. All right, that's good. Check. What table occurrence is it based on? It's based on products. Check. That's good. All right, let's do the mobile file. So that's called product catalog. And by the way, if you don't see your file showing up here, it's probably just because it's not open. So if you come back later, you've got a lot of files that are integrated. If you ever don't see anything here, it's probably just because that file isn't open. And the layout again is called product details. Check. And which table occurrence is it based on? Products. So when all this goes green, particularly this up here, you're ready to move on to the next step. So we are. That's great. And if any of it doesn't light up for you, just click this little question mark next to the item that doesn't light up, and it'll take you to this section in our docs and give you some suggestions on what to check out. It's most likely because you misspelled a name. But anyways, we're going to check your work and make sure you spell everything correctly. So let's go to related tables. Now this is a flat file, so there are no related tables, and everything came up checked already. So that's great. But we do have to add some fields and scripts. In particular, we have to add one field on the hosted side and then some fields and scripts on the mobile side. So let's do that. Those fields are best represented in this example file that we have. So I'm just going to go into the define database here and steal it. So I know that mod timestamp is the one that gets shared in both the mobile and the hosted files. So now I go to my hosted file and I paste that into the product side. Goes in without modification. And I go into the mobile file, which I should really change the colors on these, right? Let's give this a different color so it's a little easier to tell them apart. There we go. So I go into the mobile file and paste that into the products table. Paste. Awesome. Now, the mobile file requires a few extra fields, so let's grab those. And it's all these ones here that begin GZ. GZ send, send, and timestamp send. And these are used in scripts and they're used in our UI if you want to give your user some feedback about which records are ready to send, which records maybe need to be sent. So let's just paste those into the product catalog on the mobile side. Paste, there they are. And then we do need some scripts in the mobile side, and those are pretty easy to steal from, again, from our example file here. It's just this whole folder called GoZync. I'll just copy that. FileMaker Advanced makes this a lot easier, but we have instructions for how to do it if you don't have FileMaker Advanced. All this copying and pasting is kind of really easy there. So I'm going to manage scripts and paste. Good. And these scripts also all come in without modification. There's one that requires a little mod, but you don't have to do it to do your first syncs, and you can come back to it. The instructions are pretty clear about it. So that's good. Let's take a look at our UI here. I got to click that icon to get it to refresh. Okay, so the hosted file looks done. Mobile file looks done. Oh, except that on the mobile side, I need to add a table. All right, so let's steal the table from our example file. Copy and paste it in here. And you'll notice that we're not really making any changes to the hosted file except for adding that mod timestamp. So that's pretty cool. It's very gentle to your system. It also means that once you're developing, you can rev the mobile file and the hosted file independently, work on those UIs, even add fields and stuff, and the sync will just kind of take care of itself, providing they're on those layouts. All right, so we come back here and we're all checked. Except for this at the bottom. All right, switch to UUIDs. So I do need to change the way the primary keys work in both files, and I'll just kind of talk about it while I do it. We're in the products table here. This is FileMaker's ID field, and we want to change that away from these serial numbers to be a UUID. And so we switch it to text, turn off the serial number, and add this, get UUID. This is something that FileMaker 12 added for just this reason. Turn off that and turn that on. This is the way they're supposed to look. We've got some documentation on this, including a great article on why you want to do this. But the short answer is that without this, there's no way to disambiguate records that were created on different devices. There's a lot of workarounds. You can try to do it, but at the end of the day, this is the way to be sure. And it gives you some other cool benefits that we talk about in our articles, but we're big fans of this. So again, serial numbers off, calculated values on, do not replace off, prohibit mod on. And we're good to go. So I come back here, click scan. All right, we've done all those things. Only one more step, relationships. So basically it just wants to wire up the table occurrences that we pasted in here earlier. So I'll start in GoZync hosted, and I'll go to my relationships tab, and I just want to wire the ID field here, the primary key, to primary ID glob here. Now, you can tell which one to use because it's the one we've already wired the example to. So I'm just going to drag over and it's wired up. And then come over to the mobile side and do the same thing. And it's wired up. Cool. And we can go back here. Oh, so it knows that we connected the TOs, right? But we didn't turn allow creation of related records on. So let me turn that on here. Allow creation on. Great, that's right. And then let's do it over here. Allow creation on. All right, boom. So now we should be, yeah, we're all checked. Let's double check everything. We got 4 checks. So field mapping is optional. That's for if the schema, the layouts and field names and everything are different in your mobile file and your hosted file. It's a pretty easy UI, but in our case, we used the same file for both. So we really don't need to do anything. We're ready to sync. We just want to check the sync options first. So I'm going to click on sync options. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can set here, but what we want to do is round trip. We want to say, hey, if you make changes on the mobile file, push them up to the server and then bring down any changes from the server. You might want to just push. In some cases, if you were on really slow connections or the mobile users don't need new data because like maybe they're just taking surveys or something. And there's some other cool options here. I'm just going to turn these 2 off because they make for a slightly faster demo. If you have a very big table or a lot of photos, these are really cool things to check out. Again, click on the little question mark here next to the docs, and you can read more about it. But let's try and sync now. So we can initiate the sync from GoZync, from GoZync Mobile in particular, but let's not. Let's just do it right in the file. So here's the hosted version. I can get the here's the mobile version, excuse me, and here's the hosted version. And we don't have any data yet, so I'm just going to import some data. I created a little sample file earlier, and it's down here in sample data. This isn't something that ships with GoZync. I just put this together for the movie. Matching names, import, yes. 23 records came in. They all have these little numbers and stuff, and we have no records over here. 24 records total. And let's put in a photo. Well, I don't really know how these sample files work. If I could get to my desktop, I'd drag in a photo for you. But one of the nice things about GoZync is it syncs containers really well. But let's do the sync. So normally I would spend some time now to put some UI on here, some buttons that say sync now, and maybe use some of those fields I imported to let the user know if this record's ready to sync or if it's been synced. But I'm just going to run the script now. So I'm going to go to those scripts that I pasted in, and I'm going to grab this one, Zinc this table, and let's run it. All right. So slightly different UI if you're on iOS, obviously, but on Pro, this is what it looks like. Now we're processing, we're pulling it down. It's so fast because I'm all on the same machine, right? It'd be a little slower over the network. And bang, we're done. All right, 24 records here, 24 here. What's the last record? That one. And what's the last record here? That one. That's it. We've just done our first sync. We could go on and run this script and upload this to our server so that other users could get to it. Or go on and sync additional tables in the file. Once the file's started, syncing new tables is really fast. And I think you'll like it. So thanks for watching.